Welcome, fellow freaks, geeks, and nostalgic 90s nerds to my channel, Slime and Slashers, where, we talk about everything from Nickelodeon slime to horror movie slashers, but plenty of stuff in between. And lately, yes, we've been talking a ton about books, and mostly books on the channel, but there will be some other content coming soon. Today's video, however, is another book-themed video, and we'll just be quickly going through my March TBR. I'm very excited to share with you the books I'm going to be reading in March, so without further ado, let's go to this short intro, and when we come back, we'll get into the TBR. Welcome back, guys! Okay, so this will just be a very quick video because I've got live streams, all around this video. So this is just kind of a short thing to get my March TBR out there and to put out the books I'm reading so that anybody who wants to read along, especially with my book club pick, can do so. Usually I do like to release my TBR the month before the actual TBR starts, but this time I just didn't have time because I had a lot of videos scheduled around the end of last month. So without further ado, let's dive in. So we'll talk about first my book club pick for the month of March, the official book club pick. There's two actually, but the official winner of the poll for my book club, which is called the Midnight Book Society, of course, based on Are You Afraid of the Dark? Obviously, in Are You Afraid of the Dark, they are called the Midnight Society. But since we are all about books and it's a book club, we are the Midnight Book Society. So it's a little nod and homage to Are You Afraid of the Dark? But it's still bookish related. So the official winner of the poll for the March read is The Troop by Nick Cutter. It received like 39% of the votes. The last time I looked, there was 60 votes, over 60 votes total. So yes, it received at least 20 or 22 votes, and I think that's a pretty decent number. And so I am excited to get to this. This has been something that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and this really fits in perfectly with my entire March theme. So my theme for March is must-read March, and so that means just books that I've been wanting to get to for a long time that I haven't somehow, for some reason, already gotten to. And also the other aspect of that idea is that I want to read books that a lot of other people have read, but I have not. I feel like The Troop is one of those books that a lot of people have already read. However, apparently there are still people out there who have not read it because this received a lot of the votes. It was the actual winner for the book club pick. And so we have a live stream scheduled. So if you guys want to read this along with me and then join me for the live stream discussion at the end of the month, please do so. It'll be a lot of fun. So the live stream discussion is set for Thursday, March 31st at 7 p.m. Central Time. So once again, Thursday, March 31st, 7 p.m. Central Time. Hope to see you there because I'm so pumped about the flippin' Troop. So essentially the premise is, in case you guys were wondering, this basically group of Boy Scouts, they're out camping and stuff goes to hell. I feel like it's almost better not to know too much about this, so I'm going to kind of leave it vague. I know that there's body horror involved, I know that there's gross stuff involved, and I'm excited. And I know that's weird to say, but whatever, that's me. It is what it is. You guys understand, you're horror fans. Alright, and the book that is technically my second book club choice for the month of March is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. And this one came in second in the poll. It got the second most amount of votes in that March group read poll. And so I've decided, because a lot of people suggested this, that I'm going to be doing, and continue to do, because I've done this already, 2 book streams at the end of every month. So essentially there'll be 2 book club reads every single month. That way people can choose if they want to read one book, the other book, or both books. Because one of the books might not appeal to them, etc., etc. So if you don't want to read The Troop, or if you've already read it, and you want to tackle The Girl Next Door with me, please join me. Because I will be reading this, and I'm a little nervous, and I think it'll be better to tackle this book with other people. So yeah. I wish I had an old school copy of this book because the old school copy is a lot cooler. But yeah, I just have this newer copy, but still, it's going to be emotionally hard-hitting, and I'm really eager to get to it just because I feel like it's a must-read, and that's why I put it on my March TBR. And yeah, it received a decent amount of votes in the poll. Like I said, it just finished right behind The Troop. And so, we are going to have a live stream discussion about this book as well on Thursday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time. Once again, Thursday, April 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time. And yes, it is in April, not in March, although it is one of our March picks. But yeah, so you have a little extra time to read that one. And I just thought it'd be a good idea to give the top 2 books in the poll their own live streams. And as you guys know, I've been doing this year-long project with my friend Kat, or at least most of you know this, people who have, been watching my channel for a little while. If you're new here, the project I'm referring to, we're calling the Year of King, where my friend Kat and I read a King book or short story every month of the year of this year, 2022, and we're going to also be watching the adaptation of said story or book. And so our March pick is The Langoliers, which is technically a part of a bigger collection, but I found a standalone copy of The Langoliers at a bookstore up in flippin' Ohio. I was book shopping with Cameron Janey in Columbus at this place called the Book Loft, which was really neat. And yes, this was on sale, so I'm very happy to have a copy because I needed to read it in March. It was our March pick. I knew that when I was shopping, and I just happened to see this, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna get a copy. So yes, we'll be reading The Langoliers, which is basically like a novella length story. I mean, it's not a short story, but it's not like one of his full-length novels either. This copy says it's 292 pages, which is fairly long, but we're going to read this, and then we're going to watch the really cheesy TV movie adaptation, and I'm so pumped about it because I've seen parts before. I don't think I've seen the whole thing, but I've seen the funny parts, especially this guy yelling, "Scaring the little girl!" So I can't wait to rewatch it and watch it in full length. And yes, it's going to be bad, the adaptation at least, but what I'm intrigued by is if the story itself is good, and then they just adapted it really poorly, which could be. But is the story one of King's good ones, or is it that the story isn't that good either? So that's why I'm kind of really excited about getting to this, because I'm really interested to see, will the story be better than that terrible adaptation? But yes, if you're interested, please join us. We'll be having a live stream discussion of that on Sunday, March 27th. That's a Sunday again at 2 p.m. Central Time. Sunday, March 27th. We'll be talking about this, but also about the movie. So make sure that you watch the movie as well as read the book if you're going to join us. So that's all the books that I'm doing live streams for. So let's get into the rest of the TBR, the general stuff. All right, so next up, this was a part of the poll that I put out for a possibility for our March group read for the Midnight Book Society. However, it didn't win, but I'll still be reading it because I've been wanting to read this for a long time. Lots of people say great things about it. It really just seems like it's going to be good and fascinating, and an examination of a twisted mind. This is The Wasp Factory by Ian Banks, and I'm going to be buddy reading this with my friend Crystal. You could find her over at her YouTube channel, Fiber Artsy. I do think she has a wonderful YouTube channel. She's a very calming, peaceful voice, and she's a very diverse reader, which I love that about her. She reads fantasy, she reads middle grade, she reads YA, she reads horror, she reads all kinds of things. She was reading last month a Star Wars book, which made me want to read it. I just really like her, and I think she's just got a wonderful voice. So yes, we're going to be buddy reading this together. I don't know when we're going to start, but I'm very excited to get to it and actually tackle it this month. And it doesn't look that long, even though the font is pretty damn small, but still, very pumped about this. Next up, I'll be reading The Time Watchers by Robbie Miles. This will be the second Robbie Miles book that I have read in the last couple of months. I read his other book, Don't Call It All, which I really enjoyed. And so he gave me an arc of The Time Watchers, which is his new book, which, by the way, it's available now on Amazon. Please go get your copy. I have no doubt that this will be a fun and entertaining read, and I've heard a lot of people say good things about it already because, the reviews are kind of already rolling out. And so I plan to read this in March, because he kindly gave me a review copy, and it just looks so cute and fun. It's about this group of friends and how they're inseparable. So they're spending Halloween together. Something happens though, and one of the friends goes missing, and they have to go on an adventure to find the missing friend. And I'm really excited because, again, Halloween related. This will be very fun. I'm into anything Halloween related. And I'm just excited because I did like his last book a lot, like I mentioned. So yeah, look out for this. And if you're intrigued as well, get your own copy on Amazon right now. The next book on my list, it's kind of hard to see because it's really kind of in bad shape. It's an old school book called The Keepsake by Paul Husson, and I'm reading this for St. Patty's Day. So I'm going to start that, I think, the Monday of the week of St. Patty's Day, and St. Patty's Day falls on a Thursday of that week, so hopefully I can get through it in time. But basically, it centers around this Irish stone, which I've talked about this. A lot of these books are part of my 22 books that I want to read in 2022 list that I made. And I made a whole video about my list of books that I want to get to. And yes, The Wasp Factory was on there. The Girl Next Door was on there. The Troop was on there. The Keepsake was on there. So it sounds like a lot of the books I'm reading were all a part of that video, but not every single book was. I mean, The Langoliers isn't a must-read, and it's not on my 22 for 2022, but I do want to get to Langoliers for other reasons, but yes, The Keepsake is just kind of fun, and it's Irish themed in terms of this little stone that is the central part of the story that makes bad things happen, apparently. So I'm gonna have to let you guys know how it is. This is an old school book. This was published by Warner Books, and it was published back in 1981. And this is a first printing. Again, it's really rough. It's like a screaming face here. You could kind of see it actually the further away I put it. But yeah, it's very faint and hard to see, but I'm very excited about this. And yeah, Irish stone for one of my favorite holidays. It's not my very favorite holiday, but it is up there. I love St. Patty's Day. So this will be a perfect little thematic thing to do and read for that week. Alright, and the next few books I don't have physical copies of, unfortunately. So the next book on my March TBR I actually already read. And that is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So I started it on March 1st, and I finished it on March 1st, essentially in one sitting. A lot of times, like, I might take a break from reading, read a little bit here, read a little bit there. I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I flippin' read all the way through. Essentially, I think I started at 9:40 that evening, and I read till like 2:40 a.m. So that was a great read. Oh my god. So yes, I'm talking about it as a part of my TBR. However, I've already completed it. But yes, I did complete it in March. So yes, technically that was on the TBR list, and I already can check it off, which I'm pretty pumped about. I can't wait to talk about it in my eventual March wrap-up, which won't come until April, but still. Yes, I really very much enjoyed it, so it was a success, and I'm glad I put it on my March TBR. And that was one of the books I did consider, like I said, a must-read, because a lot of people have already read it, and I was lacking, I felt like, because I had not read it. But now I can say that I have read it, and boy am I glad that I did. Alright, now, next up, I don't have a physical copy of this either. I am reading, and I'm actually reading this currently as of right now, I am reading Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. And I am reading this for my friend Kelly's book club. Her book club is called the From Hell Book Club, and you could find her on YouTube and on Instagram. Her handle is Kelly Hooked on Books. And again, you could find her Discord for her book club through her Instagram, so just go look her up, Kelly Hooked on Books. And I'm really excited because I've already gotten a little bit into this. One of the main characters of the book is twisted as hell, and the other main character is from New Orleans and lives in New Orleans. And that's kind of cool because I'm from New Orleans, so there are already tons of local references. For instance, they mention Café du Monde, they mention Café au lait, which is coffee, this chicory coffee with milk, which is what Café du Monde serves. Of course, beignets. We've got all kinds of streets mentioned. We've got Bourbon Street, Decatur Street, all kinds of streets already being mentioned. We've got flippin' Cajuns mentioned, which my family is Cajun. I'm technically part Cajun. So they're talking about Cajuns. They're talking about all kinds of local things. Obviously, I had wondered before I started if Poppy Z. Bright was from New Orleans or just lived in New Orleans. But I feel like Poppy Z. Bright has to have spent a long time in New Orleans. I'm thinking Poppy Z. Bright is from New Orleans because the way Bright writes about New Orleans in general, it's like they've lived here. They have to write so accurately about the city, like they know the place. So yes, I'm excited to finally tackle a Poppy Z. Bright book. I've heard a lot of great things. There have already been some extreme stuff in the novel, especially with the first few pages when we're kind of following this killer of young boys who's in jail. And yeah, he's describing his murders and how he loves to, like, be with the bodies after he kills the young boys. I say young boys, not like kids. Young boys is in, like, early 20s and stuff. To him, who's a 33-year-old, this killer, that's young to him. So he's messing around with these 20-year-olds and then killing them and then messing around with them more. So yeah, it's already twisted and gross, and it's really enjoyable so far. So I'll have to keep you up to date on that. So again, check out Kelly's book club. It's really wonderful. She always reads old school paperbacks from hell type of books for her book club choices. And that's why it's called the From Hell Book Club. So I highly recommend participating because every month has been great picks. Last month it was Elizabeth by Ken Greenhall / Jessica Hamilton, which I freaking loved. And yes, every month that I've participated, I've enjoyed my read. And even if I haven't enjoyed the book choice, like one of the choices was Halo, even though I didn't enjoy it very much, the story, because it was kind of slow, I was still glad that I had read it. And it was like another paperback from hell I could check off my list that I had read. Okay, moving on. The last book that I'm really officially putting on my TBR, the rest of the TBR after this book will be kind of like hopefuls. But this one that I really want to get to is a buddy read with my friend Kat. So not only are we going to read the Langoliers, and also we're reading The Troop together too, but we're going to try to read The Last House on Needless Street because it's a must-read in my opinion, in terms of it seems like everyone else has already read this book, and yet I have not. Luckily, Kat has not either, and she proposed reading it, and I'm going to read it with her. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll have to see what I think about it when I'm finished and let you guys know. So that was the official TBR list, and everything else I'm going to mention are just hopefuls. Books that I don't necessarily think I'm going to get to, but in case I have extra time, I'm putting them on the list anyway. Okay, so the first of the hopefuls is the book The Rats by James Herbert, a book that I feel like I should definitely get to. It's a must-read. Whether I get to it this month or not, I definitely want to get to it pretty soon at some point. And I love animal attack books. I love animal attack books. Just to repeat, it's one of my favorite subgenres of horror. It's always fun and a good time in my opinion, so I'm super excited, and I hope I could fit this in somehow. But yes, The Rats. This is a terrible, terrible copy in terms of condition. As you can see, it's all scuffed up. However, it's really just a reading copy, so I hope to find a better copy one day in the future when I go to future used bookstores. Next up on my March hopefuls list is The Stitchers, which is part of the Fright Watch series. There's already a second book out in the Fright Watch series. However, to get to that second book, I need to tackle this first book first. And so it's on my list of hopefuls. If I don't get to it this month, it's actually part of my 22 books that I want to read in 2022 list. So I will get to this some point during this year, I'm hoping. At some point, like I said. So, this is on the list, but we'll see. And finally, I feel like this is a book that I should reread. I have technically read it before, but I remember nothing about it. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I feel like this is definitely a must-read, so it fits the whole March theme that I'm trying to do. And it's a book that I read in school. That's why I don't remember it very well. Because anything I read for school, I was like, whatevs, and it flew out of my head afterwards. And Then There Were None. It's a perfect example of that. I have no idea. I don't remember, but I hear it's a great mystery. I say I hear, as if I haven't read it. I have read it. I think I enjoyed it. I have no idea, though. We're talking about so many years ago, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not that old, but 15 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. I feel like I had to be an early teenager, like a preteen. I don't know. I think it was middle school. I don't even think it was high school that I read it. So, yes, quite a while ago. And so, in that case, I'd like to kind of check it out again, and it'll be like I'm reading it for the first time. I mean, this is the very last thing I'm mentioning because it's the book that I think that I'm most doubtful about getting to. However, it would be great if I had the time to check it off my list. If not, no worries, I'll get to it at some other point. It's definitely a book I want to revisit regardless of if it's in this month or a different month. But that's it. That's my whole TBR. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little video. And I say quick, but it's actually already been long somehow. I don't even know how this happens. A short video that I'm thinking is going to be quick and easy and punchy is long. Totally me. Anyway, guys, there's lots of fun things to come. April, I've got tons of plans for April. I can't wait to start talking about those plans. I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up very soon. I know, as I've stated earlier in this video, I've been concentrating a lot on books lately. However, April, I've got some non-bookish content coming, like some Goosebumps-themed content that's like Goosebumps like the show, and some Are You Afraid of the Dark content that's about the show as well, but also about the books too. So it's about books, but it's also bringing in TV shows and old school 90s vibes and nostalgia-filled discussions that we're gonna have. So yes, lots of fun things to come. Stay tuned. But for this time, that's it for me. Till next time, you guys know what you can do. I say it every flippin' video. Keep on killing it. Bye.